Hello, everybody. Here's Kim McMahon. And for our last live stream of FreeBSD Day, I have Ian from Metify who's joined me. And thank you so much for joining us and helping us celebrate FreeBSD Day and talking about your FreeBSD use. So why don't you give a short little introduction about you?
Sure. Thanks, Kim. Glad to join. So Ian Evans, CTO for Metify. I have been doing this FreeBSD effort with Metify since 2019. And during that period of time, we've been building up a couple different products. We have a bare metal provisioning product that we built, and then we're also doing some stuff on the ISP, which we'll talk about a little bit. Previous to that, I've kind of a Swiss Army knife of all sorts. I've been all over the place. I've worked in healthcare, the Department of Defense, and I've worked in the telco industry, all kind of heavy infrastructure type of work. And the reason why we really founded Metify was we saw a huge gap. That a lot of these tools out there weren't extremely easy to use. So we built the company to create a product that really focuses on that, making the user experience within the data center a little bit easier for people that have a lot of infrastructure and they want to control that.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I bet there are a lot of organizations out there that need that.
Yeah, a ton.
Yeah. So you have talked about the whole Linux to BSD, and I'd like to really dig in a little more about. I wasn't sure if you're using both of them together or you've gone from Linux to BSD, but yeah, because I do want to preface this. Like, I don't see FreeBSD as a competition with Linux, right? They're uses for different things.
Yes.
So, but being able to talk to the community about how they either coexist or why you would move from one to the other, I think would be really valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do use both. Our initial product that we built out was based on Linux, and it is running within KVM, right? So while it worked fine, I think one of the things that there's two things that we wanted to focus on there. One is my background is very heavy into BSD already, so I obviously had a lot of experience there, and I've come to like the way that all the pieces come together, as far as user experience. The packaging is incredible, where you can just, you can go in and you can install a port, and, it works, and you can change a make file. I mean, I can go down the list. There's a ton of good reasons for that. But ultimately what we wanted to do is take the best of both, right? So there's certain parts of BSD that we didn't really anticipate would be I guess ready for what we were doing with our Linux product, which is fine. There's a open an OCI product that's effectively being worked in the community right now called Podman. And that really focuses on containerization into BSD and so forth. So the objective we had is we wanted to be able to take what we had in Linux and move that over portable into BSD, into that OCI compliant ecosystem. And BSD is working towards, FreeBSD is working towards that in a couple different projects. One of them is called Podman, and then there's a few others out there. So as part of kind of like the stopgap, and what I was talking about in that previous presentation I did, is we wanted to figure out a way to get that Linux footprint into BSD and then use all the things that work incredibly well, like the PF firewall functionality into it, because we wanted to build a really tight firewall system for server management so people can firewall ports and things like that and mitigate security risks, and really see the throughput advantages that you see in BSD when it comes to network type things. It's just incredibly valuable for that, and it always performs well. So what we ended up doing is establishing a Beehive footprint, which is, of course, the FreeBSD type 2 hypervisor, and build the Linux footprint we had inside of the BSD or the Beehive ecosystem. And that's worked incredibly well, because now it's modular. We don't have to change a whole lot. We can move our existing KVM infrastructure in there. We can run it in Beehive. It's very performant, works incredibly well, and we get the best of what BSD has to offer as well. So it's kind of like a perfect unity right now in the way everything is working. And then when the OCI compliant stuff comes out, then we'll start exploring the possibility of moving that into a native FreeBSD containerized type of solution, whether it's Podman or something else.
Okay. Wow. So when did you find, or how did you find FreeBSD?
So it's interesting. I started using it when I was actually working in healthcare, because because I was looking at a lot of the existing firewall solutions, and what I didn't like about a lot of them is they were very expensive. Two, I didn't really think they had real good scalability in terms of features. And I also didn't like a lot of the price points. So I was kind of on a mission. It's like, I'm going to build a performant firewall. I'm going to try to do it, and I'm going to try to do the best way I can. So I evaluated all the different open source operating systems. I ended up using OpenBSD to begin with, and just straight PF in that, and then moved to FreeBSD because it was just it had more what I consider kind of configurable options and a lot of things that we needed. So that was really my first go with it. And then after that, I got hooked. And then from the healthcare environment, I moved into a company called Wasabi Systems. And they were a storage company out of Norfolk, Virginia. And they were focused on building a 2U storage, high performance storage appliance. And they were using NetBSD at the time. So I kind of deviated a little bit to NetBSD, worked in that, and then came full circle back to FreeBSD and all the other jobs. Just, building different things, firewall infrastructure, storage infrastructure, high performance packet throughput infrastructure, and things like that. So I've been working with it for a very long time.
Yeah, so you're working it in your past jobs, and then when you went to develop create the company with Mike, it just it seemed like a natural fit to use FreeBSD. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we just saw it as, we want something reliable that I know when we're going to do something, it's going to work every single time, and that's just the experience that we have with it. And it's proved to do that with the way we're building it out currently with our product.
Well, that's good to hear. I love that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is your wireless network product, right?
Yeah, so we have a product, we label it Photon. Essentially, it's a BSD, highly customized BSD packet core that we built that essentially what we did, and this is a really cool story because we kind of foregoed all of the typical type of setups where somebody throws in a Ubiquiti network or a Cisco devices, to do all the layer 3 stuff. We do everything in FreeBSD in terms of layer 3 and firewalling. So what we essentially did is built a custom packet core based on that FreeBSD footprint. And then the CPEs, the actual customer premise equipment, we built a highly customized version of that as well that accepts things like LTE and 5G modems. And it even does Starlink. And we've built that in from the perspective that customers have multiple connectivity options. But here up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, customers that normally had throughputs that were lower than 1.5 megabits per second now are enjoying speeds that are, in the excess of 100 megs per second or higher. And through BSD, what we love about that is the PF firewall is tightly integrated. I don't have to do a whole lot to enable that. We have a nice rule set. Then we put IPFW in there, and then we load DummyNet in there, and we actually do packet policing and conditioning with that. And it just works beautifully, to the extent that we literally have systems, FreeBSD systems, that are running outside on poles, through solar and battery and everything else, that have literally been up for a year and a half without any reboots, without any service changes or anything on the system at all. So just that level of reliability, once you get your hooks into it, it's really hard to let go from that. And it's been a great experience. So we just continue to build on top of that.
Oh, I like that story too. That's even better. Yeah. Excellent. Well, congratulations. And I'm really excited that this project can deliver that level of uptime that you all are experiencing. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
And I believe in the case study, we did a user story about what you all are doing with FreeBSD. And I'm pretty sure we talked about that in that user story. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Excellent. So if someone wants to participate in some of the projects you're doing or learn more about you, how can they go about doing that?
So the best way is we have two resources. For the kind of more technical, you can go directly to support.metify.io, and that has all of our product and architectures, and they can get involved there. And we also have a discourse forum there, and the ability to blog and post. So if there's any questions you want to get involved, you can do that. Or it's just www.metify.io, and that goes over a lot of the product itself.
Okay. And are you contributing back to the project right now?
So we have done a few small ones. There was a contribution we did in combination with Clara.
Okay.
around a Quectel modem driver. So that was, small but little pieces. But what we intend on doing now that we have the product kind of honed and we've stitched everything together is we want to start working with the open source community a bit more and start to release some product that the community can start to absorb and use and
Oh,
contribute
excellent.
to. Yeah.
So
So
you're going to have an open source version of your.
we're starting to talk about it and figure out, the groundwork and where
Uh-huh.
we can come in with that. So
Well, that's always music to my ears,
yeah.
being time open source. That is great. So what, anything that you're excited about in the project, what you're looking forward to coming out?
Oh man, tons of stuff. This is what I love about the BSD community. It's like everybody's so involved and like it's just a different level of involvement when you talk to people. There's like this just huge excitement around it. So even on LinkedIn, when I post and we're talking and I'm seeing posts from everybody else, the collaboration is great. So things that we're really looking forward to are, things that are being done around the vector packet processing. So high throughput packet performance within BSD,
Mhm.
that's huge. And that's going to be a massive um, achievement for BSD in terms of getting into kind of ingrained into the telco space. Other things that are happening, like Greg Wallace is working on that attestation piece. That's fantastic. Where you can see BSD becoming more of a focal point in discussions with Department of Defense or government organizations where they require a very specific level of root of trust, or they have to have a very set of procedures or STIGs that are required to get BSD installed in those organizations. So that's a huge focus for us right now, is how we can maybe help with that. We've got a lot of connections in that space. And then I think just, stuff around the Beehive ecosystem, the OCI work. I mean, there's just a ton of really exciting stuff going on to get it to the point where it's consumable in all these different areas. And in Mojo, that's one thing as an ad is we actually did do a zero touch FreeBSD install. So now with Mojo and data centers, we intend on building that kind of ecosystem where people can deploy FreeBSD at scale and they can do it very quickly and rapidly. So
Excellent. Excellent. God, you're kind of an open source company there. And on VPP, Tom Jones wrote 2 articles that were just published in the new stack on
yeah, awesome.
VPP functionality. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it got a lot of eyeballs, or so I heard. So I was told, I should say. So
Yes.
yeah, that's exciting. Well, good. I love hearing the excitement about some of the projects we have coming out. You've been a good partner with us, helping tell
Thank
the
you.
FreeBSD story. And anything else you want to share on this FreeBSD day with our audience?
No, it's just, we remain excited. We want to work with the community as much as we can. I appreciate the time you've given me to join on the Zoom session and talk about it. And yeah, we love it, right? So anything we can do to move it forward and work with anybody that's interested.
Great. Okay, well, we'll be talking on what we can do together as well. So thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. And I look forward to chatting in the future.